first order of business is the approval of the minutes, April 10th, 2017, the budget workshop with the school committee.
So move.
Second.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. April 10th, 2017, the budget workshop.
So move.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. April 17th, 2017, the regular meeting.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. April 17th, 2017, executive session meeting.
So move with an amendment.
I'll second.
Okay, go ahead.
The amendment is on line 5. If you look at it, it should be, instead of 2.5 million, 2.4 million.
Okay. Accept it with that amendment? Does he
Yeah.
have a second? Yeah?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. And May 1st, 2017, the executive session meeting.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
I have to abstain. I didn't read them yet.
Oh,
They were
four.
just given me.
4 passes, 1 extension. Okay, tonight we have a showcase presentation, so it's a really exciting night. C-SPAN Student Cam winners, honorable mention for the Narragansett High School students, and Molly, Kelsey, Molly, Isabel, Abigail, and Lily. Are you out in the audience? Why don't you come forward, because we're going to watch the video and we're going to recognize you. So come on up and maybe sit up front. We're glad you're here. This is an exciting recognition, so come on up. You can sit right on the steps right if you want. We're going to watch this. Dan, you're going to play the video for us, right? Can you take I don't know if you'll know how to do it. That's what I'm saying. So tonight I'd like to recognize 6 sophomores from the Narragansett High School for their work on C-SPAN and the recognition for 2 wonderful videos. One was Saving the Shores, and the other one was Library Accessibility. So Molly, Kelsey, Isabel, Abigail, and Lily, you've been recognized here in the town of Narragansett before the council and the public for your outstanding work on the video and for such great causes. We have proclamations for each and every one of you. I want to thank Dr. Cummings, who's here tonight, supporting the school, the students from the school system, and your parents must be very proud of the hard work that you did. And I just want to give you an opportunity to say anything. Would anybody want to say anything about the work that they did on behalf of Saving the Shores or library accessibility? So I think we should give you a round of applause, and then I'll present the proclamation. So there were 2 teams, so I'll have you just come up and I'll present the proclamations to you. So let's have Molly, Kelsey, and Molly come on up. And if your parents are here and they'd like to take a picture, they can come forward. Are they here? Yeah, would you like to? Yeah, come on up. I'll give you each one. You all. Wait a minute. This is the first team, right? Okay. And I'll read it as she's doing a. Did you want to come up? Oh, come on up. Turn yours around, too. Okay. And then we have the other group, Isabel, Abigail, and Lily. It's a proclamation congratulating the Narragansett High School, whereas, and I'll read a bit of it will be for both, okay? Okay, there you go, there you go. Okay, and we could do a photo op. Congratulations for your hard work in C-SPAN, and congratulations again. Thank you. Girls, you all set? All right, yeah, I'll take one with her. Wow. Okay, moving on to open forum. If you come to the podium, if you say your name, your address, you'll have 3 minutes to say anything you'd like to the public. Jerry?
Yep. Jerry McCarthy, 27 Sewell Road, Scarborough Hills. I've come a little bit late to the dance about the how the town plans its capital improvements. So I have a few questions, and I'm not sure whether you're still following the procedure where you don't answer questions, but I'm going to throw them out anyway. And if you don't want to answer them now, you can catch me afterwards, or I'll catch you afterwards. First of all, does the town have a capital improvement program or a capital budgeting program?
Yes.
If so, and you do, is the library included as a project in the capital improvement program?
Yes.
What is the amount that's allocated for the library in the capital improvement program? Can anybody answer that? You have a
No,
capital improvement?
we answered a couple. we're not going to respond back. I'm going to take that question, Jerry.
No, why don't you want to answer that?
Well, because it's open for, it's public forum, we take the questions. And I was answering the easy ones.
Okay.
I don't want to have Laura come up with the amount from the
That's all right, but can you tell me that if there is an amount in the capital improvement program for the library, I don't want to know what it is then. There is an amount in there. Is that document available to the public, the capital improvement program?
Yes. It's on the website.
It is, okay. Okay, because that's news to me. I've been somewhat involved with what's going on with the town, especially with the Narragansett URI Coalition. I've been to a number of town meetings. I've never heard the capital improvement budget mentioned. I've never seen a document on that. So can I get a copy of the document from the town
It's on the
manager?
website.
Not tonight? Or
It's on the website, Jerry.
it's on the website? Is that correct?
Thanks, Jerry. Really?
No, I mean, everybody seems to be looking with vacant stares on their face.
Go to the website.
Okay, I will.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much. That's
That's
the
it?
questions I had. Yeah,
Thank you, Jerry.
okay.
My name is Muriel Dickinson, Colonel John Gardner Road, and I'm here in support of the library, but not just from a financial perspective. Actually, what I'm here to express is the value of a library to the community. And I think that strikes at our hearts, not only our minds, but our hearts. A library is something that should be respected and treasured, and something that brings a community together. And the Brookings Institute, and I've left some readings back there if you'd like to pick some up. The Brookings Institute and the Pew Institute have both said that Americans value their libraries perhaps more than any other institution. And it's the importance and the impact that it has in their lives. My perspective is probably, Mr. Murray, that everyone in this room has skin in the game because we all pay taxes. So I think from a financial perspective, we don't need to worry about things like that. What we do need to worry about is making sure that when we have groups of people who are concerned about a center for Narragansett, that library is part of that center.
Thank you. You know, the library, there's a motion on the agenda tonight for the library, so it's on the agenda. So if you have something to speak in open forum that doesn't relate to the library, that would be the appropriate time to do it, is during open forum. It's already on, so you can't speak too much to the library in open forum, okay? Because there is an item on. And do you want to just bring it, can I just bring it to the front? Yeah. Okay, let me just do that. Do I have a motion?
I'll
Well-
second.
We'll tell them what the motion is. Do I have a motion to move an item up?
21, yes, let's move,
We're going to move it up.
I'd like to move that we go to new business, item 21, and move that to the forefront.
Okay, so we're going to move it up to new business.
Second.
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 All those in favor to move it up?
Aye.
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 So it's in the front now. Okay. Okay,
Now,
thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to continue this discussion to a further meeting.
The motion.
The motion
to vote
21
on.
that we've just moved up to continue it.
Okay, do you have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we're going to continue that discussion as we're still in the middle of some final tuning on that motion for the acquiring of the Belmont. So it's still alive and well, but we're still talking about it. So we're voting to continue. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
4?
No.
No. Okay, so that motion was just to continue. So that motion, it will be continued. And I'm sorry that you're disappointed, but please know it's in the best interest of the town.
All right, you got to make some kind
Okay.
of statement. You got to make a statement.
Okay, so, okay, so,
You gotta make a statement.
oh,
You want me to make a statement?
okay, no. Please, we just made a motion to move it up, to be considerate, because we know that everybody's here for the library. We wanted to make sure we were respectful of that. We are not done with the executive work. We have a number out there. We want to work that out. So I know it's hard to understand. There's a lot of information out there. There's workshops that have gone on, a lot of documents out there. Be patient. We are working on it. Just know that we wanted to be respectful, that you're not sitting here, and then we moved it up to let you know we're not quite finished to bring it to the public. And to me, I'm optimistic about that, but so I'm sorry, and I feel terrible for the boos out there, but we did that to be considerate to the public. So we're going to go back to open forum.
I just want to help you out here, Susan, and that.
Thank you, Lori.
I did get everyone out here tonight, and we appreciate it. This is a very good thing. It's a positive thing, but to have a final vote, all the things have to align. There'd have to be full disclosure as to all of the things that are going to be in the contract, and clearly we didn't have that tonight in the attachments. So it will be revisited, but this is not a moment to boo anyone up here, because it's a happy moment for us.
Thank you, Lori. It's a happy moment. Okay.
To add one thing to that, we did have an executive session prior to the meeting, and we invited Lori Kelly to come to the executive session because we're that much committed to working with the library, okay? We're just trying to make it be the right decision for the town.
Okay, we're going to move on? Okay.
Okay.
We can't speak too much to the library because we closed the motion,
All
so
right,
we're going to go to, yeah.
Just give me a couple minutes. Here.
Okay.
All right. I'm probably the biggest critic of this whole situation. It's just that I was elected to watch the dollars.
I can't hear you.
Now listen, this bond is a done deal. The money's there. But this isn't like a school bond, okay? We're buying a building from a private company that we have to essentially get in bed with for the next 100 years. This isn't a simple purchase and let's rehab the building. It's not that simple, not this one. There's a lot of legs to this, and we have to get this one right.
Thank you,
Or it's going to
Patrick.
cost a lot of money down the road.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we had an open forum, but the stenographer's going to set up public hearing at 8, and then we'll go back to open forum. So the public hearing is going to be set up, and then we'll go back to open forum. Sorry for those people that came out, but just be patient. We will go back to open forum after the public hearing. Okay? Rules of order, 8 o'clock, we have to set up for the public hearing. A motion to schedule a public hearing to amend the text, section 5. Excuse me. She's setting up for a public hearing, and I'm reading the motion. Thank you. A motion to schedule a public hearing to amend the text of Section 5 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett entitled Zoning for the purpose of expanding the historic districts.
So moved.
Second.
I have a date of September 18th at 8 o'clock.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. It was about a scheduling. A public hearing on an application of the secondhand licensing from Joseph C. Stanlin, 140 Point Judith Road, Unit A2, Plot P, Lot 289-3.
She's not ready yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You want to go to
She just
I'll
needs
give her a
to-
minute. I'll just give her a minute.
consent agenda?
She's 2 minutes.
We'll go to the consent agenda while you're doing that. Would that be helpful? Okay. Anybody from the council? We're coming back to, we're coming back to that. Anybody from the council wish to pull anything from the consent agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve the consent
Matt?
agenda.
Jill?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0, motion passes for the consent agenda. Tell me when you're ready. Okay, thank you. A motion to schedule a public hearing to amend the text of Section 5 of the, I'm doing it again because she's just, the Code of Ordinances in the Town of Narragansett entitled zoning for the purpose of expanding the historic district. We already took a vote.
Second.
Discussion.
This
This is about the scheduling.
is September 18th, and at what time are we doing this?
8 o'clock. It's for
Oh,
only
it's,
the,
it's the same, it's a
it's the
regular night.
scheduling. Do you have something to say, Stanley, about the scheduling? Okay.
Stan Wojciechowski, Narragansett. We should not be scheduling a motion to violate liberty. We just made a pledge, liberty and justice for all, liberty. This flies in the face of our liberties, to our property owners' liberty, take away our liberty for some pretense of historic. If you look on Westmoreland Street and Ocean Road, you have beautiful buildings there that replace some maybe historic buildings. I implore you not to pursue taking away our liberty as you pledged earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak on the scheduling of the historic districts? Seeing nobody, all those in favor? Aye. 5-0, motion passes. A motion to schedule a public hearing on the application for a second-hand license from Joseph Stanlin, 140 Point Judith Road, Unit A2, Plot P, Lot 289-3.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing with an application for the second-hand license from Joseph Stanlin, 140 Point Judith Road, Unit A2, Plot B, Lot 289-3. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing this evening?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you for your time. Looking to open up. What's that? My name is Joseph Stamlin.
Mr. Stanley,
Stanelun.
Mr. Stanley, just raise your right hand, please. Just you swear the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Do you want to, are you going to talk about?
Want me to?
Yeah, yeah. You tell us about it.
First time ever doing this, sorry.
No, it's okay, just,
I'm looking to open a small business for the purpose of selling coins, collectible coins, currency, bullion, jewelry, small antiques, things of that nature. I already have my, all my other licensing, my precious metals license, resale certificate, everything I need through the state, and I believe this is the only remaining thing that I need to go into business.
any questions for him? Any questions for the applicant?
Nope.
No questions at all?
Anybody from the public? Okay. Catherine?
Would you state your name, please?
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Earls Court.
You swear that any testimony you give here tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thanks.
I just have a question. He's also going to sell precious metals. Is this going to operate as a pawn shop in any way? Is there going to be any kind of borrowing involved?
No, the pawn shop's completely different types of license.
I know.
You're asking this way.
A pawn shop's a completely different type of license. I'm not going to be, taking in goods and
Loaning
things.
money.
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
I have no
all right.
intention of doing that.
That's my only question.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council or from the public? A motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We close the public hearing. A motion to, can we then approve this?
Sure.
Yeah, so can we make a motion to approve it?
I'll move that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. Good luck with the shop.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
Okay, on new business, we moved up motion 21. I have number 19, a motion to appoint Jack Russell Russell Jackson as Assistant Town Solicitor. Do I have a motion? J. Russell Jackson as Assistant Town Solicitor.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Do you want to say anything, Mr. O'Neill?
Thank you, Madam President. The purpose of this is just strictly for any conflicts that arise in my schedule. There'll be no additional cost to the town. Any invoices that are submitted through the law firm, and he will not be billing for any work to the town. It's just strictly for conflicts and scheduling purposes.
Thank you. Questions from the public. Meg?
Good evening. Solicitor O'Neill is requesting, quote, that Mr. Jackson be appointed in the event I, he says, or Assistant Solicitor Marcella is unavailable to handle a matter for the town, end quote. So I'm just recalling when this type of request was before you back in February, you refused. Throughout that discussion, two comments came to mind. First, one of you said that, quote, honestly, if this were not in the public sector and was in the private sector, I, that counselor, would have at least interviewed this woman, even if it were a phone conversation, end quote. As you wanted to interview the applicant for a 3-month term, I'm asking if you, those individual counselors who questioned that evening, if you've satisfied your own previously stated requirements for this much longer term appointment and commitment. Also, since we are now up to 3 attorneys working part-time for the town, who will be defending the town in the Colonel John Gardner class action lawsuit, as well as the threatened lawsuit about the siting of the real estate office on Boston Neck Road that so upset some in the fire district. Among the 3, or possibly now 4 lawyers representing the town, compared to the 1 full-time solicitor that we used to have, where are we in terms of their own pecking order, given their other clients and their judicial and numerous lobbying commitments? Thank you.
Thank you, Meg. Anybody else wishing to speak? Any other comments from the council? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. Number 20, a motion to discuss proposed legislation that would raise the minimum legal age for tobacco products from 18 to 21. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Hi, we have a speaker here today. How are you?
Hello there. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to present this to the council, and I appreciate Councilman Moretti for bringing this health and well-being proposal to the council. My name's Lori Stevenson. I'm a lifelong representative here, resident in Narragansett, wife, mother, business executive, fitness instructor, American Heart Association board member, and longtime advocate, but most notably a heart disease survivor. My heart disease was congenital, starting with a structural defect long before birth. But the issue tonight has nothing to do with that type of heart disease. It's the one that can be most commonly known as heart disease brought on by tobacco use, preventable. I'm here today as a mother with 3 teenage children and as a parent wanting to protect the youth in our town from this deadly tobacco epidemic. I'm excited to share with the council tonight an emerging policy idea that's gaining momentum across the country, increasing the minimum legal sale age for tobacco from 18 to 21. 95% of adult smokers began smoking before the age of 21. 95%. The ages of 18 to 21 are a critical period that takes smokers from an experimental smoker to a regular daily use. Delaying this age will keep the reduction of the risk down to keep our addicted smokers out of our schools and young folks. The proposal would reach not only young folks at 18 to 21, but protect our younger students. The research has shown that kids often turn to their older friends and classmates as a source of cigarettes. 90% of those who provide cigarettes to younger fall in the 18 to 21 range. Raising the age of sale to 21 will reduce the likelihood that a high school student or young adult will be able to legally purchase these products for students or underage friends. I know nearly all users become addicted before 21, as do the companies that manufacture these products. They are marketing them alarmingly to our youth for that reason. We're fortunate here in our state's made tremendous progress in fighting big tobacco. The data is alarming. Statistics show that 1,800 Rhode Island adults die each year from their own smoking, and sadly, 16,000 kids now under 18 here in Rhode Island will die prematurely from smoking. Among the smoking population, tobacco costs the state $640 million per year in annual health care costs. Hawaii and California are states already raising the sale to the 21, and there are bills under consideration in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine, and here in Rhode Island at the state level. We know from our work that action can happen here at the legal level, but not only locally as well. 240 cities and counties nationwide, including 150 communities in neighboring Massachusetts, have already made this change. Central Falls here recently became the first local government in Rhode Island to approve the ordinance, and data shows that it's working. I can tell you that in Needham, Massachusetts, from 2005, the youth smoking rate has dropped 13% down to 6.7 in the first 5 years. While we know reduction in smoking rates are happening, but that's 3 times the rate of the decline. So I ask you today to lead this innovation and put our Narragansett children first, work on reducing this sale age from tobacco from 18 to 21 here, and I've left some documents for you and some supporting measures that show the towns and cities that we're referencing. Are there any questions?
No, I just want to say thank you for all the information you brought forth and coming here to speak publicly about this. I actually grew up with a father who smoked, pipes and cigars and cigarettes, and in the day it was, I didn't know any better, and then I smoked, and it is, it's very clear to me how big tobacco markets to unassuming population or demographics. So I think this is a great idea, and I think we could follow in the footsteps of our neighbors across the country. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you.
Okay, so it was a motion to discuss. Okay. Moving on the agenda. Oh, do we have somebody that wants to speak?
I do.
Come on up.
Oh.
State your
Swear
name.
in or
You
do I
know, you just
talk?
say your
I
name
can
and
just
you-
talk. Celia Garrity at 75 Kingstown Road. I, too, believe that smoking is a scourge. I was an oncology social worker for years, and I started working for the American Cancer Society as a door-to-door solicitor when I was only 6 years old because my mother figured out I got more money than she did. This is really feel-good legislation that means absolutely nothing. We don't enforce the age 18 sales now. We're in a town that's a mere 1 mile wide. It takes 2 seconds to get over to Wakefield and buy the cigarettes over there and let the sales tax money go to Wakefield instead of to Narragansett. Right now, and this council, I do believe, passed a resolution forbidding the sale of marijuana if it ever became a legal product in this state. Kids in this town, adults in this town, they're all buying marijuana wherever they want to and whenever they want to. It's feel-good legislation that does nothing for the town or the children of the town. I would love for cigarettes to be banned, period, for everyone. But in reality, it won't matter. Because, again, in Rhode Island, the drinking age is 21, I believe. And yet, we see all kinds of parties with underage drinkers and all kinds of parents who supply booze to their kids. So making the age of 21 to make us feel good as a council and as a town to be snooty-woody does nothing in reality to save the children. The only thing that's going to save these kids from smoking is intensive education campaigns and influence of their families on their behaviors. That what you as a town council do to send the business to another town instead of them buying it here is pointless. And I would urge you to table the motion and not pass it because, again, it
There's-
just makes you feel good.
There's no voting on it tonight, it's just pure discussion, so thank you for your input. Stanley?
I disagree. I think you should act on this. Even if there may be some flaws or the hiccups along the way to try and enforce it, or we're not going to lose some business. I don't care what the negatives might be, but we must make a step in some positive direction. If nothing else, it increases awareness, 18 to 21. We had a problem with smoking. And my father smoked up to 4. And then when I went for a check, all of a sudden, the doctor said, oh, yeah, you're a smoker. I never smoked a cigarette in my life. So obviously, there's extremely negative effects on us, and we should move forward and do something. No matter how little it may succeed, we should make the first step and progress as fast as possible on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy?
Hi, everybody. Nancy Danuccio. I'm here as the Executive Director of the Narragansett Prevention Partnership in total support of this state proposal that is before our legislature to raise the minimum age to buy tobacco to 21. All the research shows that it's policy development that changes behavior. So that this type of momentum, this type of movement to prevent tobacco sales to our youth is a really critically important component to doing that. And I applaud your efforts to at least hear about this effort that our General Assembly is entertaining. So thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Anybody else wishing to speak? Okay, moving on to motion 22. Motion to approve a 5-year agreement between the Town of Narragansett and South County Trolley LLC and to authorize the town manager to sign the said agreement. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Jim, what town resources will the trolley be using that we're going to want to actually take part of the dollar figure that they're taking in?
Use of the parking lot at the elementary school is the main one.
Because I guess this comes to mind, we recently had the Platinum Entertainment Group that had the buses for Senior Week. We didn't ask for any part of their take, and it was really the same. They're using our town roads. And I look at what the trolley does as far as helping business in town, helping to solve the parking problem we have with the town beach as such a positive. I'm wondering why we're even wanting to take money from them when they're trying to help the town. And we just had a tour of the potential, looking at the expansion of the historic district. And they came, they picked us up, and they brought us all around. Susan arranged it.
And it was a great ride.
It was unbelievable. So it seems almost ironic to me that we'd want to try to take money from some people who are trying to help the town in areas that we really need help. Anybody else have any thoughts?
No, I mean, that's a really good point. The contract's just slightly different. It's just a different parking lot this term, correct? I'm not sure about the money piece of it, but I want to hear what the manager has to say about that and what the rest of the council would say, and maybe even Steve, the director.
I would agree that it does provide a tremendous asset to the town, especially in the long-term comprehensive plan we have with parking and trying to reduce the amount of vehicles in and around the town. That's up to your decision if you'd like to amend this. This was part of an existing contract that was in place that we just extended. That's why that verbiage is in there. But whatever your pleasure is on it.
So we could amend it to no fees.
I would like that, because it opens up to things like, are we going to start when the vendors are selling our hot dogs, or we can take out, a penny a hot dog, but it just seems they're trying to help the town of Narragansett and tourism and our local businesses, and I'd like to thank them for that and not have to collect a fee for it.
Is this consistent with the contracts we have in place with other?
Well, I'm looking to Steve back there if he doesn't mind coming up, because he actually worked on the contract. Let's see what he has to say about that trolley contract. And
good evening. This is the contract that was in place, but it was also what was offered as far as the agreement and part of the agreement for the next 5 years. It is not the gross, it is the net from their net, and it's something that I believe was agreeable to both parties. So, moving forward, I think it's something that the town and the business agreed upon, so. I mean, they
How
wouldn't have
much
approached-
was it?
Excuse me?
How much is it of the net? 10%?
It's a percentage. It's a
Right.
percentage, 2.5% for 2017, and it increases right for the next 5 years. So it's a gradual percentage. It's a very modest percentage, and it's on the net, it's not on the gross.
Right.
I think it's fair. It's in line with our other contracts that we have at the beach and in the parks.
Right.
It's a very modest net percentage. They would have not have offered it if it wasn't
Right.
something that they couldn't handle.
Right.
Well, I guess it's just inconsistent with other things that we're doing on the town roads, you know, at the town beach, we're having the food trucks. Are we going to start taking a percentage of that? I just think this is a small business, we'd like to help them, and they're trying to help other small businesses.
Right.
So,
Well, the
I
food
was-
trucks also pay a percentage too, so.
So that's consistent where people pay a percentage, right? Yeah, and it's a low percentage, so, yeah, so I'm satisfied,
it's
you
your-
worked it
it's-
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Nothing,
Right.
yeah, okay.
Last year, to my knowledge, and they can speak for themselves, there was no net, so.
So
Right.
you're satisfied with what exists?
Well, why don't we do this? I understand where Jill's going here. I understand they're providing more of a service than, providing hot dogs or food. So maybe we should waive the first 2 years of fees. Let's amend that.
Totally.
And then that gives them 2 years to get their feet
Yeah.
wet and get going. And then they can start the 2.5% on the third year and then build it gradually.
We can
So
revisit it
just
then,
let's-
that's good, Patrick.
I move to amend the contract.
Yeah.
And second that.
The first 2
second it.
years are for the bubble, or for free. And then the third year, that's when the 2.5% starts, and then it
What-
graduates.
Why don't we just in 2 years take a look at it again and figure it out
Okay,
what's
there
going
we
on?
go.
But they're
So
providing a
there's a
great service for
motion,
the
there's an
town.
amendment
Yep.
Yep,
to amend it for 2 years.
Take a look at it again, Ann, in 2 years.
yeah,
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
all right.
All those in favor of the contract with the amendment?
All right,
Aye.
Aye. So, motion passes 5-0. We just made an amendment saying no fees for the first 2 years.
So the amendment was made by Councilman Murray, seconded by Councilman
Correct.
Lawler.
Then
That
we
amendment
voted-
was accepted.
We voted on the amendment,
making
right? We
sure.
all agreed aye on the amendment,
Thank you.
okay? And then we all agreed for the contract. Okay. Okay, moving on to the next order of business. 23, a motion to approve the request from Friends of Canachet Farm to authorize to hire a professional landscape designer at their expense to produce a master plan for linear park at Lake Canachet for future consideration and approval by the town.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I was going to speak first and then have you come, all right? In looking at this linear park proposal, I just had a couple of suggestions before you hire the designer, and I just jotted some things down that were important in this project, and I just want to make them part of the record as you're hiring somebody for the master plan. Is one of the suggestions was that they have no light over at Linear Park, that it goes from sunup to sundown, that there's some signage and some plan identification signs to show that people are welcome. Vegetation along the Boston Neck Road be a buffer between Linear Park and the highway, that there be some signage at the beach about Lake Canachet, that we have an integration of the bike path with Linear Park so that it has a critical design element, and that the Linear Park, as it says in the plan, interconnects with the beach, the pier, the seawall, the South County Bike Path 4A for the Green Economy Bond, so that all of those intertwine and are all connected. So whoever is hired to do the design, we want to make sure that they are diligent in those very important concepts that were part of that linear park. So I just wanted to state that because I know that took us a long time to get the linear park idea out there. So with that, anybody else on the council want to speak to the linear park? Come on up.
I'm Kathy Kelleher.
Pat, could you just tip it in a little bit? It's hard to hear.
I know you remember that on April 3rd, you agreed that we could work with students from a URI landscape architecture class to develop concepts for the linear park. And when you approved that, we then had those students come to Lake Canachet and Little Neck Pond, and in a rainy, freezing cold day, they spent 2 hours looking over the site. The next thing that they did was have Richard Vangermeesh come to their class and talk to them about the history of Canachet Farm. They prepared for us posters that showed the research work they had done themselves on what could happen there. And that included environmental statements. It included the subject of the problem of ocean washover. It included the plants that are native to areas like that. So we had about 15 posters to look at that covered all the things that they had checked on. And after that, they made 20 conceptual plans that we have considered. And I'll turn it over to my partner to talk about that.
I'm Tom Hoagland, 963 Point Judith Road. I also am on the board of Friends of Canachet. So we went to the University of Rhode Island in a classroom, had these 20 incredibly bright students present to us for 2.5 hours. Wonderful ideas. Some of them related only to the linear park. Others had gone and tried to utilize the entire Canachet Farm property. So a wealth of great ideas. And to your point, we have a compendium of some of the ideas from that, which I can hand out to everyone. But so we looked at all these plans as a starting point. And they were just amazing to look at. We brought 4 examples. They're in the back, and we can leave them up, pick them up at the end of the day. So the next step, what we voted on as the board, would be to, with our ideas and the ideas that the council president has mentioned, charge a professional landscape designer to come back with a design incorporating most of what we are thinking about and what the kids have suggested, and maybe in phases delineated so that some volunteer work could be done by the volunteers before we spend a whole lot of money and get into that sort of thing. So we brought a few pictures along, but they're the same as the ones in the back. It was a terrific experience with the URI students. More or less what we're saying, and then just pictures of the quality of the professionalism that we saw. And again, if anybody wants to see, they're all lying in the back there.
Thank you. Can we get a copy of what you have? You can hand it to the clerk. That'd be great. Thank you so much. Anybody else wanting to speak on that motion on linear parks? Stanley?
Again, I want to commend them for utilizing URI. You know, it's an asset over there. There's a lot of very educated people over there, spend a lot of time learning this stuff. And for us to try to find so-called free help, free advice, professional advice, I just implore that you find other areas that we can do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, motion passes. Motion 24, a motion to approve the request from the Narragansett Lions Club and the Park and Rec Department for a new Kinney Bungalow Harvest Fest 5-mile road race to replace the old Get to the Point 5K road race to be held on Sunday, October 8th, 2017 at 1:00 p.m., subject to approval of state and local regulations.
So move. Second.
Discussion, I'm on the subcommittee on the Lions for this, but this is really not a new race. It's in place of Get to the Point, the Sweeney Old race. So just want to make sure that everybody understands that it's not an added one, it's a replacement one, so it would go even, and it's a great cause, and I look forward to the event at Kinney Bungalow. So any comments from the public? Any comments from the council? All those in favor of the race?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, motion passes. Motion 25, a motion to approve one food truck agreement from Hawaiian Jim Shaves Ice Cream Corp. for the rights to vend a food truck at the town beach on Wednesday and Friday nights only in the South Lot, North Lot, and South Pavilion drop-off area from June 14th through September 8th, 2017, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., subject to state and local regulations. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay, this is taking the place of another food truck, so it's a total of 6 food trucks in the beach at the South Lot, correct? Okay. Any questions on that? Any questions from the public about the food truck? Seeing none, all those are in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. Motion 26, a motion to approve the filling of the position of park laborer Tuesday through Saturday, the shift due to resignation.
So move.
Second.
Discussion, this is a Union 94, and it's a full-time from Tuesday to Saturday shift, correct? Is it part-time?
It's full-time.
Full-time, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, any questions about the position?
Yeah, we're not adding a position, we're just filling a,
Yeah, it's not an added, it's due because of a resignation, correct? Okay. Any questions from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. Motion 27, a motion to approve, ratify, and confirm a change order number 2 for the Town Beach South Parking Lot Seawall Rehabilitation Project with Narragansett Dockworks, Inc., and the amount of $17,075.06. Do I have a motion?
So move.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? Just want to see this project be completed. That's the only thing I have to say. Anybody from the public? They agree with me on that, I think. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. Motion 28, a motion to approve the final balancing change order with D'Amber Construction, Inc. for repaving of the north parking lot at the beach in the deduct amount of $67,899.30, bringing the revised total to $312,624.70.
nice.
So move.
Second. So can you
Discussion.
say that again? That's a deduction, right? So
I said deduct.
Stanley, did you hear that? A deduction, right?
So, and
Now we're
it-
3 for 3, you and me tonight.
And it looks beautiful. It looks great. So a lot of positives out there from people saying how nice it looks and well painted and looks safe. So I was excited. Thank you, Steve. Any other questions? Stanley, he's going to talk about the deduct.
I'm so happy. I just couldn't let this go by. A deduct. Now, I'd like to know, how do we get the deduct, and can we apply it in the future? I mean, was there less tar, or what was the deduct for? I'm just curious. It's killing me.
You're not going to speak to that, are you? Okay, we're going to move on to that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. Motion 29, a motion to award the bid for fire hose pump and ladder testing to the lowest bidder, fail-safe testing in the total amount of $19,395 for a 3-year period, $6,045 per year. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
And so I just want to make a point. This is for training, which I think would actually reduce the overtime. Does that sound fair enough? Yes? No? I'm looking to the chief on that. No? No. Is it training?
Testing.
Testing. Okay.
I had a quick question.
Can you come up, though, just because I want to make sure I understand it then, if it's not training and it's not helping overtime? That was my understanding. I want to be clear before I vote.
This is for the annual testing, required testing for all our fire hose, pumps, nozzles, appliances, pump testing on the trucks, as well as ground ladders, inspections and testing, testing of our aerial apparatus as well. So that's on an annual basis. That's really required by the NFPA standards.
So it's for the equipment, really?
For the equipment, the testing of the equipment. Currently, we had looked at a few options. One, to do it all in-house ourselves, and to go out for outside testing as well. Currently, the only testing that we do outside now are for the ladder testing. We have tried to do our own pump testing ourselves. We have tried to incorporate our own hose testing ourselves. But we found constant interruptions to be able to do that on duty. Well, we tried that on duty. It's constantly interrupted. To call back members in to do it off duty would require payment. We would have to pay them overtime. And adding up all those costs between the members doing that on duty, I'm up to almost $5,000 as it is in overtime costs to be able to handle that just on an annual basis. I have a company that will come in, do all of that testing within 1 to 2 days. They are certified technicians. They give me inspection of all of the equipment. They certify, they'll do general maintenance of some of that equipment as well. They'll certify to it that it has been, meets all the regulations and the specifications according to the manufacturers, and I have a computerized list of all of that instantly available to me. So that's what this is going to incorporate.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. I thought it was more on the training side, but the equipment, I can support it. I wanted to be clear on that.
Was there a question? Did you?
I just, do the firemen, are they there with that company, that private company?
We have to provide just one person to drive the fire truck there,
Right.
and stay with the fire truck still.
Okay.
And that I will even look to do that on duty if I can. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
5-0, motion passes. Motion 30, a motion to award the bid for road materials, recycled asphalt for rip-rap only to the lowest bidder, PJ Keaton and Company, for $14.75 per ton for recycled asphalt and $19.25 per ton for rip-rap for a one-year period.
So move.
Second.
Questions? Questions from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. Motion 31, a motion to authorize the town manager to sign the solid waste and recycling service agreement with the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation for a 2-year period, fiscal year 2018 and 19, subject to review and approval of the town solicitor.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Can we just get a brief summary of this?
Sure. Patty?
Sure. So this was the waste management contract. It was a pretty extensive contract. Went through it a couple of times, talked to Jim briefly. It seemed like a lot of it was existing language from prior contracts. There wasn't anything that jumped out at me, but it seemed to be in line with other contracts that other towns had signed with the waste management.
What's the year-over-year increase?
It's been a couple of weeks since I've seen it, Councilman, so I don't know what the numbers are
Mike.
right, I think, but Mike might have those numbers for you. Might be the person to answer for you.
You know, commodities are down, and that whole recycling business is bust. So we got to eat that.
Good evening. Yeah, so the current rate for tipping at Resource Recovery is $32 a ton for the municipalities. That's been a rate that's been with Resource Recovery 10, 15 years, and it's well outdated. Unfortunately, this year, 2018, it's going to go up to $39.50, and then 2019, it's going to go up to $47. The problem in the near future, that tonnage rate is just going to keep creeping up as the landfill is filling up and is almost at capacity. So that it's going to cost us more and more to get rid of our trash and to recycle, unfortunately.
That's why I kind of wanted that mentioned, just for the public, they understand this is something, the tipping fee's going up at the landfill, and it looks like a kind of bland item, but just so the public understands that in the long term.
The contractors that pick up in town, the private haulers, they tip at our capping rate. But what'll happen is, unfortunately, they're going to start to pass that on to the consumer.
Right. And it's even more if that private owner, like back to Narragansett, go to South Kingston, it's even more for them to dump it there, right?
They negotiate their tipping fee
Right.
with Rose Hill.
But it's higher than
It's
going up
higher
to
than
Johnston,
Resource
yeah.
Recovery if they hauled straight to Johnston.
Yeah.
They go to Rose Hill out of convenience.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Any other questions? All those in favor of the motion 31? Aye.
Aye.
5-0, motion passes. And a motion to appoint an individual to the pension board to fill a vacant 2-year term to expire on November 1st, 2018. Do I have
I
a name?
move to appoint Andrew Baruta to the pension board.
And I'll second that. There's another open, actually. There's one more vacancy on the pension board if anybody's interested in that board. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Congratulations, Andrew. You're now on the pension board. And there's a motion to retire to executive session with this town council at the end of... Oh, we got to go back, sorry. Open forum, you're welcome to come back. Open forum.
Yay.
State your name, your address, and I'm going to give you your 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Fran Chevalier. I live at 6 Dolphin Road on Great Island. I spoke before you last month regarding an encroachment that's at...
Could you just tip it a little bit?
That's 40 Seacrest Drive on Great Island. Homeowners there have built a rather significant intrusion into that right-of-way. I have some pictures for you tonight. You were presented some pictures by the owner's attorney and Narragansett Dock Works, but they don't tell a full picture. And I even have some more significant pictures I'd like to present to you after I speak. The pictures I will show you tonight are quite different from that. The encroachment was not a whoops maneuver. It wasn't like, oh, well, we have to extend this because we don't have enough room to put a staircase in or something. There was ample room to install a set of stairs without, to stay within the approval of their permit. Dockworks, Narragansett Dockworks and the owners appear to have intentionally ignored the plans and they just didn't happen to have extra steel stanchions hanging around for last-minute changes to put in and the cement to be poured. We are asking you that you literally draw the line in the sand. We just want you to please consider the rights of all your constituents and not the self-interests of one particular resident. Rumors are that the owners want to buy the portion of the right-of-way. Please help us ensure that public land stays public and that the public trust is not for sale. Please restore the right-of-way to the original plan. Thank you.
Thank you, and if you want to submit the pictures.
Yes.
Thank you.
You can give them to the clerk.
I also have petition, and I have several members here from
Yep,
Great Island.
you can submit it to the clerk.
Can I ask a quick question on that?
Sure.
Because I remember that was a while back. How was that left open-ended? Were we supposed to get briefed on?
No, we
still working
have
on it?
action on that.
Oh, we do? Okay.
We
all
do,
right.
we have action on that. I don't know if you want to
Jim,
speak
do you
to
want
it.
to speak to it?
So we took this matter very serious. We handled it according to legally. We kicked it back to the CRMC, and will be handling the enforcement on this.
Excellent, thank you. I initially called
Yes.
CRMC.
One
when
big
the
cement
construction was-
saw.
I originally called CRMC when the construction was taking place, and Mr. Hannigan did come out, and we appreciate your follow-through.
Yeah, there's a little bit of misinformation that was on this, that the town did not grant the permits for this, so therefore we really could not enforce it. So we kicked it back to the CRMC who gave the permit, so that is where it is now.
With the state.
And yes, and we're very hopeful that'll be taken care of.
Thank you very much.
Sooner than later.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Anybody else for open forum? Harris. Please state your name and your address.
Harris Choney, 4 Talia Court, Narragansett. I'm here as chair of the Finance Committee. I'm not sure if I can make a comment on the library, but I will. As Patrick said, finances are a big aspect of this, not the only aspect, but certainly the major aspect of this. And as the Finance Committee has urged this town council, we would urge you again to have the Finance Committee look at the financial aspects of the library before any decisions are made by the town council.
Thank you, Harris. Anybody else wishing to speak? Steve?
Thank you, council members. This is in response to the entertainment
Did you say
buses
your
that come
name
in.
and your
Oh,
address for the
sorry,
record?
Steve Ferrandi, 44 Sylvan Road, Narragansett. Thank you. This is just in response to the neighborhood entertainment buses that come in every year. It seems to be happening more and more. I know I spoke about it before, so what the neighborhood associations would like to do is see if we can have this situation prevented. We really don't think it's good for Narragansett. We plan on getting together and giving the council some suggestions to see what, because we kind of live and breathe it in about 4 or 5 of these neighborhoods. So, and at some point, possibly maybe a work session with the council. Or
Steve, yeah, I've been meaning, I don't want to interrupt you. I've been meaning to put a motion to schedule a work session. So for the next meeting, I'll put a motion to schedule a work session because there's a lot of pieces to this bus issue. Parking, ordinances, so I don't have my head fully around it. I think it works, so I'm going to ask for that, and I'll put that on at the next.
It's going to need some digging into.
And Steve, just so you know, there's a scheduled meeting at the end of the month with the chief due to your last comment at open forum about it. We were going to get together and look at that with the solicitor and Mr. Moretti, I believe, so.
Yeah, if the neighborhoods can be, part of that, we would
So,
appreciate it.
so we heard you.
I'd like to get something through by the fall. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Jeff?
Jeff Dentler, Village of Point Judith. I'm going to continue some queries representing the ad hoc committee on rentals. And this query is focused on rental registration and $90,000 in fines. It's been brought to our attention that we now have a single home, 9-bedroom up for rent. I'm curious, is that a rental that's under registration? Is it a boarding house? Is it a rooming house? Is it a hotel? It's at 50 Central Street. How is it classified? Next.
Just take his question.
July 15th, recommendations came from the ad hoc committee on rental registration. Since that time, we've gone into a registration period in 2016, and there was no decision on the recommendations on their registration form. We've then gone into 2017, again, no decision on rental registration forms. In 4 months, we will go into 2018 rental registration. The curiosity of the committee is it dead? And just let us know if you're not going to do anything with the rental registration recommendations that we offered. Now, in light of that, let's go back to this January. The building inspector's office had indicated there were 300 rental properties that had registered but not paid the fee. Then in April, the building inspector's office indicated there are 100 properties still registered that had not paid the fee. Did the town collect $60,000 from the 200 that dropped off that list? At $300 per property, it would have been a $60,000 total fines. Of the 100 who still have not paid, 60 of those properties have increased their bedrooms in those properties. Is that a violation of anything?
No, we're in litigation.
So, we're asking, what's the status of rental registration and $90,000 worth of fines? Thank you.
So Jeff, we did have a workshop with the council, and I thought we had consensus, but we didn't on the rental registration form and some of those things. So we'll get back working on that to come up with some recommendations. We haven't completely forgot about it. It's just we didn't have quite agreement at that workshop. If you remember, you were there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for the reminder.
Thank you.
And Jim, Would you be able to, his last question as far as have we collected the fines? Can you find out where we stand as far as rental registration fines?
I think if you send us your questions, we can forward them on to make sure we get
Jim,
all
I
the
just know
answers.
it.
Yeah. All right,
Yes,
Jeff?
Yes, I'll get you an answer. I'll speak to Mr. Santilli on that.
Thank you.
Send it that way. Harry?
Harry Schofield on 9 Atlantic. Following Jeff's point, I also want to point out to you that it's been 2 years since the parking subcommittee of the ad hoc committee made its recommendations. And I understand that more recently you've handed that off to town staff, but the fact is 2 years have gone by and nothing's happened, and the parking continues to get worse. At the corner of my street now, as you all see, it looks like a parking lot through the winter months. And you can step and repeat that all over town. There isn't a neighborhood that doesn't have excessive parking on lawns, on streets. And you need to do something about it. I mean, it's getting worse. And it's just to, summarize the recommendation, very simple. It's not rocket science, You need no parking on lawns. You need no parking on easements. You need to go from, 4 parking passes a unit to 2. So, it's time to do something about it. Those are simple things. They're easy to do, and the public needs it done. So I hope you'll get back in gear and get this done, because we want to see it done.
We hear you.
I have a statement for that. I said when we put together the parking committee that was town staff, please reach out to the ad hoc committee because they were kind of dangling. So I am going to just make that statement that I think the town staff on that committee should reach out to Lynn Notrantonio's subcommittee and incorporate them.
Yes, and I know they feel left out there. I mean, when people come forth, put a lot of work in, seems to me that should be considered. Just one other comment I want to make that concerns the library. You're all in receipt of the email I sent you today representing the Narragansett Peer Residents Association. There are 5 points of due diligence in that email, and I trust as you further elaborate, I'm pleased to see that you shelved it. On behalf of NPRA, please give those 5 points of due diligence serious consideration. Those questions need detailed answers. And certainly one of them is to, get a consultant involved who can look at the pier and give you some unbiased professional recommendations as to how to use the space. And to think bigger than just buying the library. If you want to buy a building down there and avoid excessive condo fees and all the rest of it, buy the whole damn thing. So have a broader gauge vision, but please take those 5 recommendations I sent you to heart. And please let us know when you're going to schedule a workshop or something on this so that we don't waste, more money. Nobody's against, a library. But to have a library, investment that's ill-conceived, ill-thought out, and without any financial planning, and we certainly support, Harris's suggestion that, the finance of the town should be involved in this, evaluating the, net impact to the cost. Don't put you wouldn't move the town hall to a rental space. So please use the same, measures for the library. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Anybody else wishing to speak? Is that you, Richard?
Richard Vanquimish, 55 Osceola. Since the library was mentioned, I just want to give you some thoughts on that. It's quite difficult in the public sector to negotiate because you have to have a clue as to some stop. And you do then give a signal to the proposed seller, ha-ha, we've got you. Now, I looked at that. I am unbelievably concerned that the library group has intentions of spending much more than $5.8 million. And, but we start with the $2.5 million. To me, that is the ultimate end. And I was hoping that negotiations would go down. That building is useless. For us to think that we can give Gilbane a bonus for bad behavior poor management is absolutely ridiculous. Now, 2.5, 2.4, that's $1 million $100,000 difference. We do have an out. We can condemn the property. We're not as weak as perhaps many think we are. We have got to get hard-nosed with Gilbane. Gilbane is not a good citizen for the town of Narragansett. And to reward Gilbane for any more than 1 penny that we can negotiate down is wrong. This is not a good neighbor, Gilbane.
Thank you, Richard. Stanley.
I just wanted to make a comment concerning the single tax rate versus my Army veteran friend Charlie. He had a business setback a few years ago, and he became a tenant of mine. And of course, being a tenant in Narragansett is a terrible thing if you listen to the elders and letters to the editor. And it appears to be also a negative situation such that the town decided to raise taxes for tenants more than 5% and give others a tax break of 10%. Totally of serious injustice and a wrongdoing according to the pledge we just took. I consider this tenant a very good person, and he's been with me for 15 years. I've never raised his rent because I felt he could ill afford it. He doesn't get a veteran's exemption. Here's a man that could use it, doesn't get it. And he's a very good person, and he's taxed more than others in his town. What I did is I told him that the single tax rate was here and a very fair tax. Justice for all was not voted in. And I also told him that Councilman Murray was the lone person who tried to do the right thing, justice for all. And he suggested that we at least give Councilman Murray some sign of thank you for what he's done for us on the single tax rate again.
Geez, where were you when we had 300 people in the room?
She wouldn't let me speak.
I know.
May I give you this flag from my tenant, Charlie, the veteran, Army veteran, many years ago. Thank
Do you
you.
want to go down and get it? I'll take a photo. Be careful.
Get over, get over.
Don't fall, man. We can't afford that. Thank you, Stanley.
I hope someday we'll reconsider that single rate. It was the right thing to do, and I hope someday we recognize that in the future.
Thank you, Stanley. Anybody else wishing to speak for open forum? Okay, moving on in the agenda. Executive session. A motion to retire to executive session. The Town Council at the end of the June 5th, 2017 Town Council meeting in accordance with Rhode Island laws 42, 46-4, 42, 46-5, 282 to discuss collective bargaining requiring Rhode Island laborers, district union public serve employees, local 1033, and AFCCME, AFL-CIO, Local 94, and appoint J. Patrick O'Neill as clerk pro tem.
So moved.
Roll call vote. Oh, so move second.
Second. Mike Moretti, aye.
Patrick Murray, aye.
Susan Bonanno, aye.
Matt Mannix, aye.
Jill Lawler, aye.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Have a good evening. More to come on the library.